Hi again, everyone. I did decide to make a second video. The first one was a little rough. Don't know how many videos it's going to take for it to be a little more natural, and I have to hope and believe that not everybody's first few videos are going to be spot on. It takes practice, and I'm going to try and not say all the time. But I wanted to share what the most, really what was my spiritual awakening in this last month. And it's going to sound absolutely crazy and absolutely ridiculous, but it's so cool because I'm the type of person that does not enjoy the journey. I see the destination and I want to get to the destination. I don't enjoy the in-between. For example, if I sew a blanket, I want to get through that process so fast because I want to see the finished product. But then when you look at it, it's not sewn straight. It is perfectly imperfect. There you go. And so what my goal for this month was to really slow down and enjoy the moment. Stop looking ahead, stop looking behind, and just enjoying where I'm at. And then also the type of person that when it comes to spirituality and like maybe receiving inspiration from my higher power or God, the universe, I want that big booming voice without a doubt telling me this is God and this is what you should do. And what I've come to believe, that God, my higher power, source, is in the little things. So I'll tell you this story about ants. It was probably a couple weeks ago, and I know I said in my first video, I have been on YouTube for the last year, and that's where I get my nighttime meditations. And so I have been getting ants in my house. That's not totally uncommon, totally unusual, right? You spray, you move on. And that's happened before. I spray and move on. Well, this time, it is ant trail after ant trail after ant trail. And they're coming in even where I've sprayed. And I'm just like, what is going on around here? And it's been driving me crazy. So at night, I'm in bed, and I'm scrolling through YouTube to find my meditations. And I come across one that says, do you have ants in your house all of a sudden? And I'm like, yes, I do. So I click on it. I don't know if you've come across one of these before, and it says, chosen one. Having ants show up in your house all of a sudden. Then it went on to this huge spiritual thing, but my mind was already like, what? So got super excited, and then I stopped, and I was like, wait. I just bought ant traps on Amazon. So I'm like, Googling, does YouTube and Amazon talk to each other? And of course it says likely not. And I'm like, okay, cool. So then I'm like, what is this? Do ants have any spiritual significance? So I Googled that, and they do. The sign of ants is a representation of wealth, happiness, good fortune, and self-improvement signs. After I read that, I was like, welcome. And as silly as that sounds, it opened my mind to, and I've known this, but it finally was a breakthrough. I can believe whatever I want to believe, regardless. I choose to believe that all of that happened. It was a spiritual thing. That YouTube video found me. As ridiculous as it sounds, I choose to believe it. And so that is my reality. So what you believe and what you perceive makes your reality. And that's, they talk about in AA a lot, and in recovery, it's gratitude. And, true gratitude is being grateful for the good and the bad. Because there's duality in everything, and that's kind of what brought up the ants in the house, because I'm like, I am thankful that I have a home that ants can come in. Super grateful. And so I'm really trying to challenge myself as well, too. If things look like they're not going the way I would really like them to go, which is most of the time, then I try and find the good in it. And so that's not always easy to do, but I've always been the doom and gloom kind of person. Hope for the best, expect the worst. And I have just gotten so tired of living that way. It's taken me 50 years. Yes, I said it. 50 years to come to a point that I am finally just accepting things as they are. I'm not trying to make them, and I'm not trying to boo-hoo about why it's this way and why it's not that way. Because it was always like, well, that's the way it goes. That's just my luck, and I'm just not meant for good things. I'm not meant to win stuff. It was just a dark, dark place, and now it's opened my mind to, if I listen to like any spiritual or uplifting things on YouTube, and they're like, do you know how powerful you are? And I'm like, no, yes, right? Because I can believe that. What's wrong with that? If it brightens me, if it like fills me with encouragement, and have that energy, because I do believe we emit energies that are either positive or negative. And so I want to build more positivity, because nobody wants somebody who is, oh, boo-hoo, cry me a river, I'm a victim. Because if you continue to be a victim, you will continue to be victimized. And when I was in my disease and drinking and just in absolute utter despair and darkness, I would sit and go, why me? I don't deserve this. And when I'm in the light and I'm focusing on gratitude and I'm focusing on a connection's conscious contact with my higher power, I am now going, wow, why me? I don't deserve this. And many, many times in meetings, I've heard people, because we say our name, hi, I'm Sarah, I'm an alcoholic. And I hear people say, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm a grateful alcoholic. And I used to sit there and go, nah, that's an oxymoron. Those two don't go together. It doesn't even make sense. But if you really, really think about it, like, it has been the most, because I've always been pretty self-aware. I've been very self-aware. However, I never had the tools to do anything about it. Like, I knew my character defects or things that I wanted to change. I just didn't know how to change them. And so I would just be, well, that's just me. That's just who I am. That's how I was born. But now, like, the self-reflection that recovery allows you or requires you to do is amazing. I would have never, like, for me and contact with a higher power, I was always looking to religion. It was like always religion. I'm like, okay, what's the right religion? Which one? To where AA, for your higher power, it is what resonates with you. And a higher power of your own understanding. Nobody's telling you who to believe, what to believe, how to believe. And that's what's beautiful about connecting with a higher power, is you have the freedom to follow your higher like your path, and what fills you, because I believe God is everywhere, God is everything. He is in every single one of us, and so make it whatever you want. Make it a butterfly, because God is in that butterfly. As long as it is something that takes you out of here and helps you, there's so many more things greater than this suffering. And I know there are a lot of people that come into recovery, and when they start talking about God, because recovery in the 12 steps is a spiritual program, and it is based on spirituality, it's based on a higher power, conscious contact with a higher power, something greater than yourself. And that scares people, because they've either been brought up in a possibly negative religious or spiritual experience, and they were taught that God is a certain way that didn't like fit them and didn't feel right to them, and so they get scared of it, and they've got maybe anger or fear, and there's a lot of atheists that come into AA that now have the ability and the space to come to believe, because it is a process. It is not like, I believe, it's come to believe. And I'm even growing in what I believe. And it's an ongoing journey, I believe, because we continue to grow and we continue to learn. And so, yeah, most atheists that come in, probably 9 out of 10, if not more, find a higher power. Find that connection with what I believe is just love and light. And whatever that looks like doesn't matter, I believe. It's just changing that perspective and choosing to believe what you want to believe. And I was so stuck in those patterns, and now when a thought comes into my head of like, oh gosh, Sarah, you're so dumb. No, I stop. And I'm like, do I want that to be true? I do not want that to be true. Because I'm not dumb. None of us are dumb. And I'm tired of having such a, I guess, unhealthy relationship with myself, and really learning to choose me. And I think for me, I always, and I don't know quite where it came from, but feel like choosing me was selfish. And all of my like belief systems were just so backwards. Like, I had the character defect of pride in reverse. And I'm coming to believe that a lot of my character defects I thought were assets, because I thought pride in reverse was humility. But it is not, because it went so far the opposite way that I hated myself, and I was always hard on myself, and I didn't love myself, and I always thought I could, and we can always do better, but I never thought I could ever do good enough. And so coming to learn that has changed so much in my perspective, that like, even though my outward world hasn't necessarily changed, my inward world has changed drastically in the way I think, in the way I process, in the way I deal with stress and other people. And it's just been an amazing transformation. And if I can help somebody else like understand to choose, it is not easy to change your belief systems that you grew up with that are so deep in there. But if you just practice a little every day, it's just life-changing. And everything has such a different meaning and perspective. And yeah, it makes your world a little easier. It's like step 1 in Alcoholics Anonymous. We are powerless over alcohol. And really, you can put that anywhere in there. We are powerless over any kind of substance. We are powerless over people, places, and things. And that makes our life unmanageable, because we're trying to control things in our life we're not meant to control. And to be able to surrender is so freeing, but so hard to practice in the beginning. And it's just been an amazing journey. And I love the practicing of being able to choose that I can believe in greater things, and that it's not selfish, that I'm not going to be punished by a God, and that it makes me a better person. And yeah, just choose you and what you feel in your heart and what you believe, and don't let anybody else tell you different. So I use this example. I was listening to a speaker on a podcast about a month ago, and I love the analogy that he gave of, not being in our will, not trying to control the show. We are powerless. We can only control our thoughts, our reactions, and actions. And so he was like, if you've ever been snorkeling and the first thing they tell you is please do not touch anything, because the thing that you touch will die. So I use this as an analogy for my life as well. Like, I look at my life as this beautiful coral reef that God has set up perfectly, ecosystem. Everything moves and gets along. All I have to do is be in His will. I have to breathe, and I have to stay in the path. I can't get drifted off in the wrong direction. I just have to stay, and I have to keep my hands off of it. Because whatever I try and fix, whatever I try and change, what I think should change, dies and becomes unmanageable in my life. So if that's the one thing you can take from this, it's so easy. Take your hands off and just do the next right thing, the next step forward. That is all you have to do right now, and everything falls into place. And with that, I love you all, and I hope that you heard something that will come back to my channel. I will talk to you guys later.